Ronnie Stanley just signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Bring the Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. This video, Baltimore Ravens news. Sorry, I was coaching. Just got home. Just am reacting to the news pretty much right now. But 3 years, $60 million deal for the Baltimore Ravens. Perennial left tackle ever since he was drafted. And let's just jump right into it. Also, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. Was it a good deal? What do you think this means for the rest of the Ravens offseason, for the draft, free agency, trades, all that, and for the offensive line? But first off, I want to say congratulations to Ronnie Stanley. This is, very good money for him, and it keeps him in Baltimore. I think he wanted to be a Raven for life. I think he has a chance to go into the Baltimore Ravens Ring of Honor. So that's a really big achievement for him, and he gets to block for maybe the best quarterback in the NFL for another 3 years. Now, from the Baltimore Ravens perspective, right? I'm a little bit surprised they were so aggressive in doing it, because reports are coming out where basically the Ravens were like, we are keeping Ronnie Stanley. People were saying maybe the Chiefs or the Patriots are going to try and go after him. The Ravens said, nope, we're going to go out and we're going to sign our guy. And that shows me a couple of things. The most important being the Ravens have a plan. The Ravens have a plan with this draft. They have a plan with free agency, and they do not want to get off of that plan. So I think they weren't looking at tackle in the first round or in the first 2 rounds in this draft class. And that is something I think speaks volumes to what they're trying to do. Because if they were kind of lenient and hesitant to re-sign him because they wanted to see what happened in the draft, right? There's a chance Ronnie leaves, and then the tackle that we're trying to go after ends up not being available, and the Ravens end up getting screwed out of having, a good offensive line next year. So they said, hey, Ronnie Stanley's not the worst tackle in the NFL. Let's pay him what left tackles are getting right now, which is crazy, but starting left tackles are getting $20 million a year, which is kind of wild, but that's what the market calls for. That's what the average left tackle is going to get paid in the NFL. Average, former Pro Bowl left tackle, that's what they're going to make. So they said, hey, we're going to keep Ronnie. We know what he brings to the table. We want to draft elsewhere. So now I'm looking at the draft and I'm going, okay, right? We're going pass rusher, or we're going DB, or we're going wide receiver. That's all we need. Right? This gets rid of a huge need for the Baltimore Ravens in this offseason. Now, could they maybe go after a guard? Yes. But you're not doing that in round 1 or round 2. You're not going to spend all your free agency money on a guard. This is a great opportunity for them to really hone in on a couple of key positions and try and get immediate difference makers. And they know what they have with Ronnie Stanley. They know what he brings to the table. And it looks like they're fine with it. If you want to know Ronnie Stanley's statistics, these are per PFF. These aren't PFF grades. These are just PFF statistics, because they actually track these things. Ronnie Stanley, 2 sacks allowed last year, ranked 61st among all left tackles. He allowed 4 hits. That was 95th allowed. That's because Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL at evading pressure. And then total pressures allowed, 119th, 35 total pressures allowed. So he allows pressures, but because Lamar Jackson is so special, he's able to make do with those pressures. The big concern I have problem I had with him last year, he was 132nd out of 141 tackles in terms of penalties. 13 penalties last year. That is very, very rough. He was a pretty good pass blocker. That's, where the strength came in. He just can't move anymore. He just, can't really get out and run block, which is unfortunate. But also, when you have a really old left tackle, it's hard for him to get moving. So, that's one thing that if, we're addressing this offensive line, I'd like to get some mobile offensive linemen, some guys that can move around, because Falele and Ronnie, they're not really moving. Rosengarten can move. Linderbaum can move. I think Voorhees can move a little bit, so I like him there at that left guard spot. But if we do draft someone, get someone that can move. The other thing is, I didn't want to re-sign Ronnie Stanley. I'll be honest. If you guys don't know that, I don't know if I've talked about it this offseason, but I didn't really want to re-sign Ronnie Stanley. But I'm glad that it's only for 3 years, and I really wanna see what the numbers look like, the guarantees look like, because there's a chance it's not, it doesn't say it's a fully guaranteed deal, so, if there's potential outs after 1 or 2 years, that gives me a little bit more the Ravens a little bit more flexibility and opportunity to move on if he, does end up getting injured. But that's the other thing. Ronnie Stanley's played 1 full year, right? 1 full year since he signed a $100 million contract, and we're gonna give him a 3-year, $60 million deal. That's the one thing that I'm concerned with. But at the same time, he was fully healthy last year. He has been putting in the work, and the Ravens are rewarding him with that. But again, I'm not gonna lie. This is not my favorite move, but at the same time, I don't think the Ravens were in a position to make any big time offseason moves. Would it have been great if they went for Myles Garrett? Yes. Would it have been great if they went for um, Jair Alexander? Sure. Would it have been great if they went for DK Metcalf? I talked about that yesterday. I don't think it's a great move, but that's still a big splash move that was potentially on the table for the team. I think they're looking at it the way the Ravens essentially always have, where they're going to try and build from within. Homegrown talent, homegrown stars. That's what they want. They're not going to pay another team superstar absurd money to be a starter for them. And that's where I'm really excited or curious to see what we do with Derrick Henry, because I know the Ravens are trying to work on an extension for him. But with Saquon's massive extension, I'm curious to see if the Ravens are going to be willing to shell out big bucks for Derrick Henry, because I honestly don't think they will. I think they're going to try and pay Derrick Henry about 12 to $14 million a year in his contract extension, when Saquon just got like 20 plus $1 million a year in his deal, because Derrick Henry's older, and because Derrick Henry's value with the team, like they're bringing him an option to try and win the Super Bowl. Saquon is younger. He will be dominant wherever he goes, and he has one, right? Saquon might not be feeling like, oh, I have to win another Super Bowl. He'd like to, but Saquon got paid because he wanted to get paid. We'll see what Derrick Henry, what happens with him. So now that we're paying Ronnie Stanley, right? We don't know exactly what the cap hit this year will be, what the signing bonus will be, but it does restrict their cap space. I don't know if they're going to be able to get Ronnie, Kyle Hamilton, and Tyler Linderbaum. I'd assume they get Kyle Hamilton done. I don't know if they're going to get Tyler Linderbaum done. I think they're going to be more willing to franchise tag a center than a safety, because centers don't get paid as much typically. So I feel like the franchise tag will be less. So I think it's more worth it to go after Kyle Hamilton right now than their center. I think they will get both deals done eventually, just maybe not this offseason, because now I don't know if they have necessarily the money to make a big splash re-signing or extension. And that leads me to the final thing is the Ravens are almost kind of done, right? Like, I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to get any big time free agents. That doesn't mean they can't get free agents. They can get guys that can contribute, right? So people have linked a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. He won't get paid a ton of money this year, right? Free agents that are, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Maybe Kyle Van Noy is able to come back, right? But I don't think that when you look at these contract extensions, right? Gregory Rousseau just got $20 million a year. I don't think we're getting Adafe for that. I don't think we're going to pay Adafe $20 million a year. It looks like he's probably going to be a guy that ends up walking from us, which does happen for the Ravens. But, that's the risk that you run when you wait to sign these contract extensions. So I don't love this move, but also I am happy that, hey, we know who our tackles are. We don't have to draft one in the first 2 rounds. That takes away a big need for the team. So I am happy with that aspect. But again, if my plan was, let Ronnie walk or wait and try and get him for a little bit cheaper. But the problem with that is if you do wait and you sign somewhere else and the tackle that you want isn't available, you get screwed and you get stuck. So this is a much safer option. I don't necessarily think it might not be the better option, but it's a much safer option, and when you have Lamar Jackson, you have a chance of winning the Super Bowl. So let's get it done. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts, your opinions. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see all of you again next time.